Okay, let me start by first saying, what just happened? I was watching Game 7 of the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns NBA playoff series, and I turned it off. I turned it off when Dallas had 101 points and Phoenix had 59. You're getting 40 balled at the minimum in Game 7? Why did you fight so hard to get to Game 7 just to... God bless them. Nah, but for real, like, I'm really honestly shocked. I really thought that Phoenix was going to come out of this NBA series, but it's cool. I'm like honestly very excited for, you know, what's to come, especially like with the finals. The playoffs have been so good so far. It was announced that the NBA is adding in 2 new awards, the Larry Bird Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and then also the Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP awards, which, you know, after talking to my brothers, they kind of had like mixed feelings about it. But me personally, I honestly love that idea. I feel like you go through like 3 rounds of hard basketball, like, you know, first round, the semifinals, and then you have the conference finals, and then you go to the finals. Like, that's a lot of work just for one person to get the finals MVP. Like, I feel like making it to the conference finals in itself is a huge accolade. Like, I really feel like this should have been implemented a long time ago. But I think it's super dope to acknowledge, you know, just a little bit more of the teams that, you know, get that far, because making it to the conference finals is not an easy task. Like, especially this year, I really feel like people have been playing basketball, okay? Playing basketball. Love to see it. Something that I was on Facebook arguing about for like a week or two was the Most Improved Player Award. I'm going to say it again. Most Improved Player Award. My biggest thing is like, okay, every player should be improving, especially, I mean, no matter what, as a professional athlete or just athlete in general, you should be improving. But most improved, that is an award for like role players or people that's still in like a very like developmental type stage and etc. Not your superstar. John Morant should have been in MVP talk. Not that I thought that he was going to win the MVP award or that, whatever the case may be, but to give him most improved player, that's borderline disrespectful. Borderline disrespectful. Like, John Morant, for one, was Rookie of the Year. 2, actually no, flip that around. For 1, John Morant went second in the first round of the NBA draft. Make it make sense. For 2, he was Rookie of the Year. Make it make sense. And, you know, it's been some years since the Memphis Grizzlies has even had this type of like hype and, you know, just excitement around their team. And, you know, people kept emphasizing, well, the Grizzlies are 18-2 without John Morant. That means he made his team better, right? Right. So most improved, how do you cannot be most improved and you went second in the NBA draft, first round, and you were Rookie of the Year. We had his MVP. Actually, you know, let's list off a couple of the most improved players so y'all can see what I'm trying to say. 2021, Julius Randle, New York Knicks. 2020, Brandon Ingram, Pelican. 2019, Pascal Siakam. 2018, Victor Oladipo, Pacers. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like, they hadn't even been to the Western Conference semifinals since the 2015-2016 year. It's 2022. Like, not only is that generating more fans, more exposures, but also more revenue. People are watching John Morant, and, you know, sadly he did get hurt. And they were also saying like, oh, the Grizzlies are going to get swept against Golden State. They held their own. And even in one of the games where John Morant did not play, they gave Golden State, I want to say, like 30 or 40 points. Like, most improved? No. Like, and also, like, Memphis was second in the West. Everybody knows who watch basketball that the Western Conference has always been like the better conference, or like the more skilled conference, or like the more competition conference. You know, as of like recently, I love that like the conferences have like balanced out, because honestly now there's really some dogs in the East. And as a Miami Heat fan, the Eastern Conference has always been kind of like, you know, my little bubble. But to see like the Eastern Conference really have some dogs now, love to see it. All in all, I think that the Grizzlies have such a bright future ahead of them, especially with Ja Morant. But Ja Morant is going to get MVP within the next like 2 to 3 years, I want to say. I feel like it's really coming. They have a bright season ahead of them. You know, another person who I had said Ja Morant reminds me of, and people were like, no, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. But now they want to make the comparison. I said a while ago, Ja Morant reminds me of Allen Iverson. You know, just that going hard in the paint, getting the ball, leading your team. Like, I just like, Allen Iverson led his team to the finals, NBA finals. And it was, I mean, he has some, you know, good, great role players or whatever the case may be, but he led his team to the NBA finals in 2001 against the Lakers. Like, what? And this was more physical basketball, low-key. And even during that time, like, you know, just going against Kobe and Shaq and etc. Granted, he didn't get a ring out of that, but, you know, Allen Iverson is another example of, you know, he won Rookie of the Year 1997. And then he also won the MVP in 2001. So, what is that, like 4 or 5 years? 4 or 5 years. 4 years. So, I really feel like Ja Morant is going to mimic that. So, his MVP is coming. It's definitely coming. He crossed Jordan. Who has crossed Jordan?
Michael Jordan. Come on now.
But, you know, I really feel like Ja Morant, like, he's going to mimic that. Because, you know, Ja Morant went second in the first round in the NBA draft. Got Rookie of the Year. Now he has Most Improved Player. But Allen Iverson, you know, drafted in 1996. Arguably one of the, if not the best NBA draft class ever. Went first round, number 1, 1996. Got Rookie of the Year in 1997. And then he also had got MVP 2001. So that's 4 years later. So I really feel like Ja Morant, it's coming. So do your thing, 12. We rooting for you. Okay, the conference finals. Of course, I'm going to start with the Eastern Conference Finals because my team is in the East. So, it's going to be Miami versus the Boston Celtics. Like, I'm already just sick of the Celtics fans. And Celtics literally just won like 2 hours ago. So, if you are a Boston Celtics fan, exit stage left right now. I'm just kidding. I really thought that the Bucks were going to advance. I really did. But you can really see how much Giannis is missing Middleton. Giannis is really missing Chris Middleton in this series. Giannis had even set a record of first NBA player to have 200 points, 100 rebounds, 50 assists, in a playoff series. I'm going to say it again. 200 points, 100 rebounds, 50 assists. In a series. In one series. He's the first player to do that ever. That stat line is crazy. Crazy. In game 6, he had like 44 points, 20 rebounds, and 5 assists. That is crazy for one game. And, you know, my brother was, like, joking, like, you know, that hadn't been done since, like, 2001. We laughed. I'm like, yeah, you know, since Shaq. I was joking when I said that. But, you know, just thinking about how dominant Shaq was, especially in his prime, I'm like, yeah, like Shaq. Then I get on Facebook and I literally see Giannis joins Wilt Chamberlain and Shaq for, like, a similar, like, stat line. I want to say it was, like, 40, 10, and 5 or something in a playoff game for stats. And I just was like, wow. I really just feel like Giannis was just exhausted. And, you know, without Chris Middleton, it's like he really had no help, honestly. And it's really sad. I didn't think that they were going to, you know, two-peat. But at the same time, like, Giannis is the best player in the world, honestly. Like, if we're going to be honest, he's the best player in the world. So, to just see him exhausted like that, and even in, I think, Game 5, he's bleeding, playing, you know, just blood, sweat, and tears. Like, it's just, oh, sad. Yeah. And even with, the stat line that he had, and I'm like, oh, I was comparing him to Shaq, blah, blah, blah. When Rudy Gobert said he would lock Shaq up, prime Shaquille O'Neal, Orlando Magic Shaquille O'Neal, Los Angeles Lakers Shaquille O'Neal, please. And that's not no shade to Rudy Gobert, but people forget how great Shaq was. Like, let's not forget. Even when he went to Miami, like, he was injured some of the time there, but at the same time, like, D-Wade won his chip with Shaq. So I'll always forever respect Shaq regardless or whatever. Even when he went to the Celtics, like, even though he kind of was just there, it still was kind of a memorable moment for me that I think about when it comes to Shaq. Like, Rudy Gobert, yeah. So, Celtics, Miami, y'all already know who I'm rolling with. Miami, we rolling. Okay, Western Conference Finals. I'm still so in shock about the Phoenix Suns. I just knew that Chris Paul and Devin Booker was going to advance to the conference finals. I just knew that they were coming to the Western Conference Finals. And I don't know. It was hard to call who's coming out the West. But at the same time, Golden State is still Golden State. Like, I really wanted it to be like Miami versus the Grizzlies because I'm biased, honestly. Even though Miami is, I want to say, the greatest team amongst all NBA teams right now, like, regardless. But, I really wanted to see Miami and Grizzlies because, again, I just love Ja Morant. I love what he's doing with the Grizzlies. I just love the Grizzlies. It's a young, hard, fighting team. Like, I just love to see it. They got that dog in them. So to see Luka do that to the Suns, I am glad that, Golden State did not sweep Memphis Grizzlies because so many people kept saying, like, oh, Memphis is about to get swept, blah, 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 Memphis swept. And I'm like, no, I don't think they're coming out this series. Honestly, I did say Golden State in 5 or Grizzlies in 7. Golden State did it in 6, I want to say. And so I'm glad they did not get swept. But at the same time, it's just like, I really wanted them to advance. But I don't know. I did not expect it to be Golden State versus Dallas, though. This could potentially be, when we get to the finals, this could potentially be a rematch of the 2006 finals. Miami Heat versus Dallas Mavericks? 2006? 2006? Is that what I'm hearing? So, for my finals prediction, I don't know. I really don't know. I really want to say Miami and Golden State, but then at the same time I want to say Miami and then, the Mavericks because, 2006, that was a big year for Miami, won that chip. I want to say our first chip in franchise history, so I'm still going to go with Miami versus Golden State Warriors for the finals. Another hot topic I have been talking about on my socials was, regular season MVP. We have arrived. So for the regular season MVP, it was Joker, which he is 2-time MVP now. He won for this season, 2022, and he won last year, 21. And then Giannis won right before him, 20, and then 2019 also. Honestly, I love that the big men are getting the acknowledgement that they deserve. Like, before it kind of was like kind of a guard type of like award. Not in general, but like right before those two getting it back to back for like some time, at least a few years, it just was like guard. I was like, why would they give it to Joker? Like, why wouldn't they give it to Embiid or honestly even thought Devin Booker potentially for MVP just because, like, I don't really like to base everything off of just pure stats. Like, yes, stats matter, stats are important, but at the same time, like, you have to really watch the game to understand and know, like, a player, like, how they are. Because there's a bunch of people who have, honestly, empty stat lines. Like, yeah, their stats look good, but, what else do they have besides, a great stat line? With the big men getting the award, as you know, like Giannis is a forward, Joker is a center. the previous 4 years before Giannis and Joker had received the MVP award, it was like guards. So like James Harden had got it 2018, Russell Westbrook got it 2017, and then Stephen Curry was back-to-back for 2015 and 2016. Definitely well-deserving. But again, like I said, it is like dope to see big men getting the acknowledgement. And just the way that, like, you know, the evolution of the big man in NBA, you know, basketball, because, you know, before big men just kind of had to, like, you know, muscle their way and get the ball, and that's kind of it. And that's not to minimize, you know, any past players or anything like that, but Stephen Curry really revolutionized the game, and, you know, making a three and having to get those shots, being in the paint, and even making those far away crazy shots. Like, I saw Stephen Curry play in person for the All-Star game, and he's literally, and I don't have the words, but you know, now the big man, you have to rebound the ball, and you also need to shoot. You need to know how to score. You need to know how to move and maneuver. Like, you cannot just be a big man. So I think it is dope that the big men are getting the acknowledgement that they deserve. Joker also had like a crazy kind of like stat line too, like first player in NBA history to have 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists, which that stat line is really crazy for real. You know, I do definitely respect, you know, that that accolade, but, you know, like I said, I don't really like to base everything off of stats, because, you know, let's take James Harden for example, and this is not to throw shade or anything like that, but, you know, James Harden's stats get brought up a lot. But, you know, they did that foul rule change, and I feel like he really hasn't been the same since injuries, and then also that foul rule change. So it's just like people bring up stats, but like you really have to watch people's game and understand the dynamics of their game to really like give people acknowledgement, in my opinion. I think the rest of the NBA season is going to be very interesting. Like, you know, to see who comes out of the East, Miami, of course, and to see who comes out of the West. Even to see like these new awards with the Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP and then the Larry Bird Eastern Conference MVP. I'm very intrigued to see, you know, just what happens from here. One of the last things that I wanted to talk about too is just my Mount Rushmore of basketball. So I feel like I see people go back and forth with this all the time. So for me, my Mount Rushmore of basketball would have to be Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Allen Iverson. For my Mount Rushmore too, an honorary member would have to be Dwayne Wade. What's understood don't have to be explained, okay? Those 4 people have revolutionized the game in a way that I don't think anyone will ever do again. And, you know, some people may argue, especially over me adding in Allen Iverson and Stephen Curry, but the way Stephen Curry has changed the whole NBA, now you see big men going behind, like, this is a 3-point line. Big men back here shooting a 3-point. That was unheard of in the early 2000s and the 90s. Like, even just players in general, just like, threes is what's important. Threes is what's important. Stephen Curry influenced that. And you know what, Allen Iverson, like, he was the one who getting his hair braided on the sidelines, or, you know, wearing, you know, baggy clothes, or just like hip hop attire, or things that are deemed as unprofessional. Like, he brought the swag to the NBA. Not only is he one of the best players ever to do it, top 75 NBA player of all time, Hall of Famer, like, let's keep it going, like, 2-time MVP, like, come on. Not only does his, you know, accolades crazy, he changed the game. Like, we wouldn't know basketball for what it is now without Allen Iverson. You cannot talk about the history of NBA without talking about how Allen Iverson changed the culture. Allen Iverson is the culture. So, you know, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Allen Iverson, my Mount Rushmore at basketball. Okay, I'm going to end this with a crazy kind of prediction. A speculation, if you will. I think that LeBron is going to end his career in Cleveland. So I think that LeBron is either going to get traded to or request a trade to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Bronny will be drafted to the Cavs, also just like his father. And that's where LeBron will retire at. He gets to play with his son for a year. and then do kind of like a last dance, you know, like Dwayne Wade. But yeah, I'm excited. Like, I can't wait for Bronny to come into the league, and I pray LeBron stays healthy, and in this, you know, rare form to keep performing at such a high efficient level to play with his son. But yeah, thank you all for joining.